Hello and welcome to my own personal Slacker studio. Today I'm going to be running you through my shiny new build in the Fractal Design Meshify C. Before I run through all of this, it's kind of worth noting that this is not a new build. I've actually effectively just rebuilt into a shiny new case. Now, none of that gives me any extra performance, so the entire point of this was mostly for aesthetics. Before I kind of run through why I picked the Meshify and what's great about that, I thought I'd say just what I had before, which is the Thermaltake Core V21, which is a cube-like case, and I really originally liked how versatile this case was. You can orientate the case in pretty much any direction you want, horizontal, vertical, upright, I guess, if you wanted to. The more I got into PC building though, the more I saw everybody else's builds that looked absolutely fantastic, and the more I wanted a more traditional layout case that I could really show off what I had inside, which is how I ended up here. Now, before I explain any more about the Meshify C and what I actually did with it, how I built it, and what I think of it, it's time to open our beer of the show. Well, my beer of the show. So normally on our podcast, Jack and I open a beer of the show, you rate it, this, that, and the other. I'm going to try and do that all by myself. So today we've got the Vocation Brewery Heart and Soul Session IPA. Now, this is actually something I have kind of on a semi-regular basis. It's very easy to get. The shop down the road has this and a few other ones, but it's probably my favorite. God, I still love that sound. Alright, so now a little bit about the beer. So this is a session IPA. This is our brewery's heart and soul, created to have all the hoppy goodness of an IPA, brewed to a sessionable strength. Its intense fruit salad characteristics come from generous additions of US West Coast hops. Fruit salad, eh? Curious. Cheers. I think we're going to have this one on the show sometime, because it's kind of one of my favourites. Although, I mean, I'd probably only give it a 3 out of 5 though, but a 3 is something I would actually still go back to as and when I know something that's reliable. But it's not quite an outstanding beer like any of the other ones we've reviewed. So, solid 3 out of 5. Now, on to the rest of the case, and the reason we're all here. So, this case is fantastic because it has a lot of space, massive open window, but I kind of couldn't rely on just the case itself. I chose the white to go with my already blue LED fans. Now, unfortunately, the blue in these fans is kind of only vaguely visible, and only if you've got the lights off. The reason for that is that the faster the fan spins, the brighter the LED goes, but my fans don't need to spin that fast, and I want the build to be pretty quiet. So that's one of the reasons I added some of these LED strips that you can see in here. There's one down here at the bottom, running along there, and then there's one lighting the top as well. I've actually got a little remote for this, so that means I can kind of change the colours. Unfortunately, my existing hardware, so the motherboard, doesn't allow software control of LEDs, hence the remote, but to be honest, it's been great. The other thing I added for this build is the orange cables that you can see. These are Fantex cable extensions. Now, cable extensions effectively do what they say on the tin. They go on top of your existing cables and then connect to the motherboard. This means that there is a lot of cable, kind of pretty much twice the amount of cables, so you'll be able to see just how much I've had to cram in the back panel here. It just about all fits, and I'd rather have less, but really cable management is only really for me. Most of you guys won't ever see anything else that's behind here, except the front. Now, that's the other reason why I got the cable extensions. With your normal kind of generic power supply cables, you don't really get anything that looks nice. They might be kind of vaguely braided cables, but it's going to be some big chunky thing and look horrible. So these things allow me to get a nice shape, nice kind of aesthetic, and general clean inside of the build. And as I mentioned, the entire point of this was basically aesthetics, really. So here's my kind of quick impressions on the Fractal Design's Meshify C. This is just a lovely case to work with. There is a lot of space in the front, plenty of space in the back for the cables, even with the absolute mess that is my cables with the extensions on. And I think it's just a great case for everybody, really. This supports full ATX motherboards. I am actually using an ever so slightly shorter M-ATX board, which is fine. There's a little bit of space underneath it, but you can barely see it. It's got a lot of cooling options as well. There's 3 fan slots in the front, 2 in the top, 1 in the back. Plenty of space for radiators as well if you're water cooling. Enough hard drive space for most people, and especially if you have some bigger hard drives like I'm going to soon. Alright, that's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to check out the bi-weekly podcast that is Slacker Studio. We generally release podcasts on Mondays. We chat about pretty much anything you can do while you're slacking, which is not working. So tech, movies, games, you name it, beer, we talk about it. See you on the next one.